Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Wednesday, May the 22nd. And boy, oh boy, are we in for a big day today. Today is the day of NVDA. Now, the Fed will be releasing its April minutes today at 2 p.m. Eastern. But today is all about NVIDIA. NVIDIA results come out after market today. If we look at the futures going into the day, the only of the three indexes that are in the green is the NASDAQ. It's up very slightly at 4.75%. If we flip back over to our Yahoo app, here we go. So if we look at where we are from a crude perspective, it's off about 83 cents, close to $1. So it looks like oil could be starting in the red today. NASDAQ futures were down. They have now recovered. So they are at +4. The VIX is down to a relatively, to a very low 12.1 30 days out. So that's interesting as we go into an earnings event that will definitely affect the market. Lululemon is off this morning. It's down $14 and change right now pre-market, and that is because I believe it was their chief product designer has decided to leave. So that has sent some shocks through the market itself. If you believe in this company, and they have some amazing products and an amazing brand, they've got a great distribution channel, huge profit margins. I think this, for a long-term play, an acquisition, is a good one. Changing out of one person, if you've ever run a business, having one person in the organization leave, if the organization is built correctly, it should never affect the entire organization. So this is one of those news and rumor situations where you want to look at potentially putting some of this into your portfolio, because this news is just sent the stock down, but for no great reason. So just wait for it to hit a bottom today and then look to buy in. It should recover from the 14 it's down within the next couple of days, maybe into next week, and you should be positioned pretty well. And if you hold it long term, I don't think you're going to go wrong with Lululemon. We can see that most of the other retail and healthcare stocks are hovering near where they closed or are down a little bit and in the red. One of the ones that I ended up making some moves in yesterday and made a good 1% profit on was JB Hunt. So JB Hunt dropped to its 52-week low into the 158 range. I picked some up yesterday when it dropped into that 158 range. I didn't time it perfectly. I was still above where it bottomed, but relatively close, and then exited when it popped back up. So this is one that, although profits have declined and overall the overall financials aren't as positive as they could be, I think what we'll see is this stock turnaround definitely over the next 6 months. It's not certainly a day turnaround, but I do believe that it has a lot of good prospects because shipping will inevitably pick up unless we go into a recession. So there is obviously that caveat and downside, but a recession is going to affect many companies in many industries. I do think that at where it's priced now, it's an attractive purchase. If we scroll down through the oils, most of those are in the red right now, and that's probably due to crude being down 81 cents. We'll see what happens with crude today and whether it pops back. If it does pop back, it could be an interesting opportunity to watch for correction. As I mentioned yesterday, I really like Valero in the 162 range. I think it's got a lot of promise. If we drill into some of the background and financials behind that, it's only trading at about 8 times earnings. So it's got a relatively low price to earnings ratio. It generates a ton of cash flow. It's doing share buybacks. Oil isn't going away. It's a huge refiner in multiple countries, US, Canada, UK. I think it's got a lot of promise, as do some of the others, but I'm a huge fan of Valero. It also pays a great dividend, and actually, while we're on that, the dividend, I believe, comes out May 30th. So if you get into that stock and are holding it for the dividend day, the exit ex-dividend date or on the ex-dividend date, you should get, I believe it's $1.07 a share on that date. So here you go. The trailing yield, the forward dividend yield is 2.64%. It pays out 4.28 cents. So yeah, that's $1.07 a quarter, and the ex-dividend date is May 30th. So if you wanted to pick up $1 a share, you'd want to be in on that and make the purchase by or before 2 days before the trading day of the 30th. If we scroll down a little bit further, we get into tech, and this is where we're seeing a positive on the NASDAQ, but a lot of these are still reflecting red and negative, but only slightly. So I think CRM is going to report in the next 7 days. So a week today, next Wednesday, we'll get an announcement from CRM. I'm a strong believer in this company. I think Salesforce has shown over the years it's been very successful with its strategy and its execution. I think it still has a lot of opportunity around its AI integration and what it can do there with sales data and really helping out the sales component of any organization. Then we move down and obviously look to some of the semis. So on semi up pre-market today, ARM up a little bit pre-market today, AMD up pre-market today, and then Lam Research up a little bit, Broadcom up a little bit pre-market today, and then NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is up $4, up at it should open around 9.57 if that sticks in the next 20 minutes or 10 minutes or so, and then the others are kind of in the red and pretty close to where they were the other day, with the exception of Meta. So Meta's had a couple of off days, down in the low 460s or mid 460s. I said before, I'll say it again, I really like this company. I love the financials. I love the forward prospects for this and the fact that it takes chances and tries new things, even though they don't all work out. If you're not trying to hit home runs or get on first base, you'll never score. So this is a company that is willing to take chances. It does it in a way where the risk is mitigated. And at some point, they're going to hit another home run like they did with the acquisition of Instagram. So that's one that I would definitely look at picking up. And then we get down to financials. And financials, for the most part today, are in the red. I think SoFi is a great buy at $7.08. I would definitely pick that up in the low $7 range. This is a stock that in the last 30 days, if we look at the 1 month chart, has been as low as in the sixes. Where was it down here? 670, and as high as we'll call it 780, 790. So this is a stock that has a lot of volatility and a lot of moves for a fintech company, and it's got a lot of great prospects for growth going forward. So this is a company that I think is just starting its hockey stick upward trajectory, and would be one that I would put into, say, a TFSA account in Canada or a retirement account in Canada or the US, and I would just hold this for the next 5 or 10 years, because I think that's going to be a $100 stock in that 5 or 10 year period. JP Morgan is off a little, but look at how it recovered. So here's a great example of our strategy of buy when it dips and then take your profits. If we look at the 5-day, this thing fell off on Monday, which was a holiday in Canada, but markets were open in the US. It dipped down, and then if you got into that dip either end of day Monday or beginning of day Tuesday, it shot back up and went from a low in the, call it 195 range down here, up to something in the 198 range. So you're making a $3, if not $4 profit, depending on when you bought and sold. And that's a great little gain, a 2% gain on this stock in a single day. Really in about 30 minutes is when that gain occurred. So that is what we're on the lookout for. We want to see when things fall off. Now, big risk today is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, when it announces results after market today, it is going to move the entire market. It is such a big component right now of the S&P 500. I heard yesterday that its revenue is larger than all of the tech companies in some countries. So this is a big market mover, and obviously we want this to come out positive. We want it to be on trend and growing significantly and having positive forecasts. It appears that with the movement in the stock today, it's setting up for a positive earnings announcement, and it could spike up based on that. It could drop based on that, which other companies companies like ARM have done when they had good results this quarter, but the market didn't receive them as maybe expected or as they have traditionally, if there is a tradition for how earnings are received. But this is going to be a market mover. So it's a risky day today. And what I mean by that is if you're in a position where you have profits, take your profits today, because if things go bad or sideways with NVIDIA, we're probably looking at a pretty red and ugly day tomorrow, and maybe even into Friday. Probably a recovery next week, or a small recovery, and starting to trend back upwards, but we're likely to see some red for the next day or two at a minimum. So if you're in a position, regardless of industry, this is going to bring everything down in a correction. So I would take your profits today if you have some, and then wait to see what these earnings are like. You could also sell a half of your position today so that you secure half your profits and let the others stay in there, hoping for positive results and an uplift to the market. That way you don't miss out on the uplift. But this is such a big market mover. It is a very risky day. So just be warned, and that is the guidance going into today. I hope you're liking these videos. I certainly enjoy making them and sharing my knowledge with you.